In the northern direction, they will see directly as many Buddhas, blessed ones, as there are grains of sand in 80 Ganges rivers. In the upward direction, they will see directly 90,000 million Buddhas, blessed ones. In the downward direction, they will see directly as many Buddhas, blessed ones, as there are grains of sand in 100 million Ganges rivers, and they will all say to that child of the lineage, "Child of the lineage, you have heard the Sanghata Dharma Pariyaya, and therefore in future lives there will be this many good qualities, benefits, and happiness. Therefore do not be afraid." Saying that, they will reassure that person. "O child of the lineage, have you seen many hundreds of thousands of myriad millions of Tathagatas, as many as grains of sand in Ganges rivers?" He says, "Blessed one, I have seen them." "Sugata, I have seen them." He speaks, "O child of the lineage, these Tathagatas have arrived to see you." He says, "What sort of virtuous action did I do that this many Tathagatas have arrived at the place where I am?" He speaks, "Child of the lineage, listen, you obtained a human body. The Sanghata Dharma Pariyaya fell upon your ear, and therefore, due to that, you created this great a mass of merit." He says, "Blessed one, if even my mass of merit becomes this much, what need is there to mention one who hears it comprehensively in its entirety?" He speaks, be quiet, O child of the lineage, I will describe the merit of a 4-line verse, therefore listen. Child of the lineage, it is as follows. To make an analogy, even compared to the massive merit of as many Tathagatas, Arhats, perfect and complete Buddhas as there are grains of sand in 13 Ganges rivers, it produces a much greater massive merit than that. Compared to one who honors as many Tathagatas, Arhats, perfect and complete Buddhas as there are grains of sand in 13 Ganges rivers, if even one who hears just a 4-line verse from the Sanghata Dharma Pariyaya will produce a much greater massive merit than that, what need is there to mention someone who hears it comprehensively in its entirety? Child of the lineage, listen to this regarding one who hears the Sanghata Dharma Pariyaya comprehensively in its entirety. If there were as many wheel-turning kings as the number of sesame seeds planted in the whole galaxy of 1 billion world systems, and a rich person with much wealth and great possessions made offerings to those wheel-turning kings, compared to that, one who makes offering to one stream enterer produces a much greater mass of merit. If all those sentient beings of the galaxy of 1 billion world systems were to become stream enterers, compared to the mass of merit of one who makes offerings to all of them, the mass of merit produced by one who makes offerings to one once-returner would be much greater. If all those sentient beings of the galaxy of 1 billion world systems were once-returners, compared to the mass of merit of one who makes offerings to all of them, the mass of merit produced by one who makes offerings to one non-returner would be much greater. If all those sentient beings of the galaxy of 1 billion world systems were non-returners, compared to the mass of merit of one who makes offerings to all of them, the mass of merit produced by one who makes offerings to one Arhat would be much greater. If all those sentient beings of the galaxy of 1 billion world systems were Arhats, compared to the mass of merit of one who makes offerings to all of them, the mass of merit produced by one who makes offerings to one Pratyeka Buddha would be much greater. If all those sentient beings of the galaxy of 1 billion world systems were Pratyeka Buddhas, compared to the mass of merit of one who makes offering to all of them, the mass of merit produced by one who makes offerings to one Bodhisattva would be much greater. If all those sentient beings of the galaxy of 1 billion world systems were Bodhisattvas, compared to the mass of merit of one who makes offerings to all of them, if the mass of merit produced by one who makes their mind inspired with pure faith in one Tathagata and makes their mind inspired with trust toward a galaxy of 1 billion world systems completely full of Tathagatas, and one who hears the Sanghata Dharma Pariyaya would produce a much greater mass of merit than that, then, Sarvashura, what need is there to mention whoever writes out the Sanghata Dharma Pariyaya, or memorizes it, or reads it, or who comprehends it completely? Sarvashura, what need is there even to mention prostrating with a mind inspired with pure faith towards this Sanghata Dharma Pariyaya? Sarvashura, what do you think about this? One might wonder whether all childish ordinary individuals are able to hear this, but even if they hear it, they will not generate faith. Sarvashura, listen. Is there anyone among childish ordinary individuals who is able to get to the bottom of the great ocean? He said, Blessed One, there is not. He said, is there any sentient being who could deplete the ocean with the palm of one hand? He said, Blessed One, there is not. Sugata, there is not. He said, Sarvashura, just as there is no sentient being at all able to dry up the great ocean, Sarvashura, nor is any sentient being of lower aspiration able to listen to this Dharmapariyaya. Sarvashura, those who have not seen as many millions of Tathagatas as there are grains of sand in 80 Ganges rivers are unable to write out this Sanghata Dharmapariyaya. Those who have not seen as many Tathagatas as there are grains of sand in 90 Ganges rivers are unable to listen to this Dharmapariyaya. Those who have not seen hundreds of thousands of myriad millions of Tathagatas, having heard this Dharmapariyaya, will reject it. Sarvashura, those who have seen as many as 100 million Tathagatas as there are grains of sand in the Ganges River, when they hear this Dharmapariyaya, will produce a mind inspired with pure faith. They will be delighted. They will understand correctly, exactly as it is. That one will have faith in the Sanghata Dharmapariyaya and will not reject it. Sarvashura, listen. Those who write out just a 4-line verse from the Sanghata Sutra, after they pass 95,000 million world systems, their Buddha field will become just like the Sukhavati world system. Sarvashura, the lifespan of those sentient beings will have the capacity to be 84,000 eons. Sarvashura, listen. As for those bodhisattvas, those great beings, who hear as little as a 4-line verse from this Sanghata Dharmapariyaya, Sarvashura, it is as follows. To make an analogy, a sentient being who has committed the 5 uninterrupted actions, ordered them done, or rejoiced in their doing, will purify the bad karma of the 5 uninterrupted actions if they too hear just a 4-line verse from the Sanghata Dharmapariyaya. It is like that. Listen, Sarvashura, and I will explain still another good quality. It is as follows. To make an analogy, a sentient being destroyed stupas, causes a division within the Sangha, causes a bodhisattva to waver from their meditative absorption, creates an obstruction to the wisdom of a Buddha, and takes human life. Afterwards, that sentient being regrets it and is distressed. By this body I have been ruined, and ruined in the next life too. I am worthless. Thinking thus, there arises intense contemplation, and he experiences painful feelings. He experiences unbearable feelings. Sarvashura, that sentient being is rejected by all sentient beings. He is despised. This sentient being is burnt and worthless. He has become worthless with regard to worldly and supramundane phenomena as well. For many eons, this man will be like a log burnt to cinder. This man will be just like pillars and beams in a nicely painted house that are not beautiful once they are burnt. He is not lovely in this world either. Wherever he goes, in all those places, sentient beings will criticize and beat him too. And though afflicted with hunger and thirst, he will not obtain even the slightest bit to eat or drink. On account of that, he experiences a feeling of suffering and is reminded of the destruction of the stupas and of the 5 uninterrupted actions out of hunger and thirst and abuse. And having been reminded on account of that, he thinks, where am I to go? Who is my protector? And he becomes depressed by the suffering, thinking, since no one at all is a protector to me here, let me go to a mountain or ravine and there put an end to my life. He said, since I have done wicked acts, I'm like a cinder forever burnt, both in this world not lovely, and in the next world lovely not. Within the house too not lovely, also outside lovely not. Due to flaws I did wicked deeds, through them to lower realms I go. I will suffer too in other lives, in whatever bad state I dwell. As he sobbed and choked on tears, even by devas his words were heard. Alas, to lower realms I go, thus in the life beyond there is no hope. The deva said to him, foolish person thinking so, drop this suffering mind and go. Father killed and mother killed, since 5 heinous deeds I did, refuge, comrade, none for me, suffering feelings I will have. To the mountain peak I'll go, my body there to cast away. Foolish being, do not go. With this mind that would do harm, much wickedness was done by you. Do not do this wicked act. Who does harm unto themselves, to the suffering hells will go. They will grieve and cry aloud, and due to that fall to the ground. Not by that effort do Buddhas come to be, nor do bodhisattvas come about. Even a hearer's vehicle is not attained, so by another effort strive. Go to that mountain where a sage is. Having gone and seen the magnanimous sage, at his feet he paid homage with his head. Holy being, be a refuge for me. I'm so oppressed by fears, by woes. Essence of beings, sage, please hear my words. Please sit and make an opportunity for thought.